We still have obviously numerous warnings that are in place, and at least a few of these have been strong to severe thunderstorms, but also a few embedded circulations, as we've been mentioning, with those tornado warnings as well. A couple of our SkyTrack cameras, even I was just looking off in the distance, our Beloit SkyTrack camera starting to show up with quite a bit of that lightning off in the distance, as well as that structure there. I wonder if we can take that Beloit SkyTrack camera here just briefly so we can take a look at kind of what our cloud structure looks like there off in the distance. If we're able to take that SkyTrack camera on air here, that would be fantastic if we can at least get a look at that and see kind of what's going on with that Beloit SkyTrack camera there. Again, off in the distance, kind of still a little bit off in the distance, as I've been mentioning, from Beloit, but I did at least briefly see a flash of lightning there off in the distance that was beginning to show up with that storm. Again, this SkyTrack camera looking off to the west, and kind of a similar picture of what you're going to be seeing in Beloit, along with any other areas along and around the I-39 corridor. You're likely going to be seeing the skies beginning to get a little bit darker, but we're not seeing as much in the way of heavy rain and wind just yet. However, that is going to be on the way here in the shorter term. So we didn't see any lightning, at least when we took that SkyTrack camera, but starting to see those clouds darkening, and that's going to be a similar feature of what we are seeing not only here and along the I-39 corridor, but also some areas further out to the west. So again, let's run down some of our warnings that we have now. We still have at least a couple of tornado warnings that are out, as well as almost the entire line is underneath some form of severe thunderstorm warning. So within our embedded circulations that we have here, we'll take first a look north to south. Right now we do have that tornado warning that is in effect for portions of northern Rock County and at least part of Greene County, although I imagine that circulation now a bit further off to the east of that direction. So right now, at least, we're seeing this embedded circulation pretty close to the Evansville, Mongolia area. This is along Highway 14. It's going to be tracking kind of along, at least if it stays on its same track, on the north end of Janesville, south of Edgerton is where we're going to be at least seeing that potential storm tracking through. We still have at least a lot of that embedded circulation, as I had been mentioning. Let's see if we can take a look with our debris tracker, and we're not really seeing much in the way of debris here, but this is where it would be showing up if that tornado were to touch down. But at least at the moment, luckily, we're not seeing at least anything as far as that particular signature. Nonetheless, that tornado warning still remains in effect here for a little bit longer. That tornado warning for Greene and Rock counties still lasts until 7:45 tonight. That storm moving off to the east at around 40 miles per hour. In addition to that tornado warning, we also have a severe thunderstorm warning that is out for Greene and for portions of Rock County. That's kind of on the northern end of that severe thunderstorm warning is where we see the tornado warning, but nonetheless, the severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect until 8:15 tonight. That storm located near Evansville to Brodhead to Winslow, moving to the southeast at 30 miles per hour. This area of the line of storms along and just to the west of Janesville is where we are seeing the potential for up to 70 mile per hour wind gusts with that particular line of storms. Again, 70 mile per hour wind gusts, and that line of storms is moving off to the southeast at 30 miles per hour. So if we put a storm tracker on that particular spot of that, we will at least see 30 miles per hour, and that line of storms currently just to the west of Janesville. If we put it southeast at 30 miles per hour, these are some locations that would be impacted by this storm in the short term. We still have Newark at about 7:41 p.m. by we get to the town of Rock around 7:51 p.m. City of Janesville by the time we get closer to 7:57, near Beloit by 8:02. That's where we saw our SkyTrack camera, and then the town of Clinton by around 8:14 p.m. So this is still, if that line were to maintain its strength, at least moving at that speed and at that strength, those are some of the times that the storm would be at least reaching some of those locations. Some other areas along the northern end of the storm may also see some heavier rain, as we see even outside of that warning, a lot of the heavy rain that has been falling along with that. So those are kind of our northern end of our counties. We'll move to the south now and cover some of our northern Illinois counties here. We still have a tornado warning that is out for portions of Stevenson County. That particular tornado warning still runs until 8 o'clock tonight for Stevenson County. This storm has moved past the Freeport immediate vicinity, but we did have a reported wind gust in Freeport up close to 70 miles per hour earlier, as well as the airport itself that had gusted to around 55 miles per hour. So at least at the moment, we are still seeing that tornado warning in effect for Stevenson County until 8 o'clock tonight. Outside of that, we still have the severe thunderstorm warning that is out for that same line. That severe thunderstorm warning does extend as well for portions of Stevenson County that lasts until, that one runs until 7:45 p.m. tonight. And this is the line of storms that is capable of still producing up to 90-mile-per-hour wind gusts as of 7:33. So this is still a little bit outdated that the storm was located over Seward and was moving close to Byron. So we do now have a severe thunderstorm warning that still remains in effect until 8:15 tonight for Ogle, Lee, and Winnebago counties. So that is the next severe thunderstorm warning on our list. That one extends out to portions of Winnebago, Ogle, and Lee, as I'd mentioned. Severe thunderstorm warning there remains in effect until 8:15 tonight. That does include the city of Rockford, as well as some of our other counties and towns just to the south of that. The entire county of Winnebago underneath that severe thunderstorm warning. At 7:40 p.m., this severe thunderstorm is located along a line extending from Davis to near German Valley to near Mount Morris to near Dixon, and that line moving to the east at 50 miles per hour. So this area of the line moving a bit quicker than some of the areas to the north. Nonetheless, this particular area of the line moving east, as I mentioned, at 50 miles per hour, and that storm is capable of producing 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So that is considerable damage if it were to indeed be able to maintain that strength. So we'll put a storm tracker on this particular line of storms now for portions of Winnebago County, as I had been mentioning. Put a storm track on that. Again, this one moving east at 50 miles per hour, so a bit quicker than the other line of storms. This does include a lot of this area here moving east, as I mentioned, at 50 miles per hour. So some rough estimates on where this would particularly reach close to the town of Oregon by around 7:43 p.m., Byron by around 7:49, Rockton by around 7:58, the city of Rockford, at least some of the downtown areas by around 8:02, and then Cherry Valley by the time we get closer to 8:08 p.m. And it looks like we now have a new tornado warning that was issued for our southern Whiteside County, so just a small corner of Whiteside County there to the south. So let's take a look now at some of our southern counties as well. We have covered at least those severe thunderstorm warnings up to the north a little bit here in the shorter term. They did at least extend or trim down maybe the severe tornado warning in Rock County, it looks like. But down to the south are Whiteside County storms still capable. So the Rock County tornado warning is issued a new tornado warning for Rock County that runs now until 8:15 p.m. That storm moving now to the northeast at 20 miles per hour. So that severe tornado warning for Rock County runs until 8:15 tonight. Severe thunderstorm warning for Winnebago, Ogle, and parts of Lee counties runs until 8:15 tonight. So 8:15 tonight for the severe thunderstorm warning that does include the Rockford vicinity as well as Ogle and Lee counties. That storm capable of producing 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So now shifting our focus down to the south, and you see that the radar shifted so that we were now looking at our Quad Cities radar instead, but numerous tornado warnings along this line as well. A new tornado warning out for southern Whiteside County. This one runs until 8:30 tonight. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing both tornadoes and extensive straight-line wind damage was located along a line extending from Joslyn to near Alpha, moving east at 50 miles per hour. In addition to the tornado, again, extensive straight-line wind damage may be possible within that line of storms as well. This is just some of our southern portions of Whiteside County, but outside of that, a severe thunderstorm warning also remains in place. The severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Carroll and Whiteside County runs until 8 o'clock tonight, until 8 p.m., and that storm capable of producing 80-mile-per-hour destructive wind gusts, along with the tornado warning that is on the southern edge of that severe thunderstorm warning. And then there also is a tornado warning just on the corner as well, a different one from further behind. So this entire line of storms one point or another, is now underneath either a tornado warning or a severe thunderstorm warning, with the majority of those storms capable of producing anywhere from 70 to 80 mile per hour wind gusts. Within that, we also have those embedded circulations. So anywhere that you see the orange and yellow boxes, that's where we have our severe thunderstorm warnings. And then within that, we have those red boxes. Tornado warnings are in place. So we still have a tornado warning that is in place just on the north side of Janesville for portions of Rock County, tornado warning that's in effect for eastern Stevenson County, and then a tornado warning down here for southern Whiteside County. In addition to that, the entire line underneath some form of severe thunderstorm warning, and most of Lee County, at least at this present time, not underneath any warning. But I would caution that this storm is still moving down that direction. So locations like Amboy over toward Brooklyn and some other locations down that way, just south of Franklin Grove and Dixon Sublet down near Paw Paw, you are not underneath any warnings, at least at this present time. But nonetheless, we have that possibility of strong to severe storms moving very close by here in the short and immediate term. And so I would at least treat this as if a severe thunderstorm warning were indeed issued for that particular location, with this entire line underneath some form of a severe thunderstorm warning. So again, we'll run down some of our warnings and what we still have in place. Tornado warning for northwestern Rock County remains in effect until 8:15 tonight. That storm moving to the northeast at 20 miles per hour. So a little bit of a closer look at that now. And it does look like we have at least a pretty decent embedded circulation there that does look to be passing on the northwest side of Janesville. So let's take a closer look at that with our storm velocity now. And this is kind of what we're getting a picture of. If not a tornado that is embedded within there, it is at least looking like it's a bowing out segment of some form, and that there is capable of producing some of those damaging wind gusts. So this is kind of the area that we're looking at for the embedded circulations, just in between Evansville and Leiden, south of Porter. This is along Highway 14 in northern Rock County. Some of these areas where we see these reds and greens coming together is the possibility for some of those embedded circulations and the possibility for that to produce a tornado in the short term. And that is why a tornado warning has been issued that remains in effect there until 8:15 tonight. In addition to that, the severe thunderstorm warning for Rock County still also remains in effect for a bit longer until 8:15, and that does encompass the town of Beloit as well as the town of Rock, the town of Clinton, the town of Bradford, Johnston, just south of Milton. So almost the entire county of Rock County underneath a severe thunderstorm warning. The tornado warning is extending just south of Fulton, but does include the city of Janesville, even though that tornado warning and that circulation, at least at this moment, is on the northwest side, and that storm is moving to the northeast at 20 miles per hour. So at least at this current trajectory, the circulation would potentially pass to the north side of Janesville as opposed to passing directly through it. Nonetheless, we still have those damaging wind gusts where the 80 mile per hour wind gusts are possible within the severe thunderstorm warning that does encompass the entire county of Rock County. We still have a severe thunderstorm warning that I have also neglected to mention out for Greene County, even though most of that storm looks like the bulk of it, the worst of it, has definitely passed on. But nonetheless, the severe thunderstorm warning there remains in effect until 8 o'clock tonight. So still about 10 minutes left of that severe thunderstorm warning, and the storm there capable of producing 70 mile per hour wind gusts moving east at 25 miles per hour. Again, now down to the south, we get a little bit of a closer look at some of our embedded circulations within here as well, and kind of a pretty good picture of what we are seeing with some of these embedded circulations as well. Just even on the east side of Stevenson County, now passing pretty close into western Winnebago County, we have this area of embedded rotation that may be possible to produce a tornado. We don't have a tornado warning that is out for Winnebago County and immediate vicinities, but it does look like we also have an embedded circulation here that is near Byron and Davis Junction that may be possible of producing a tornado as well. So nonetheless, even though if you are not underneath any of those tornado warnings, you would like to treat these as if they were tornado warnings, because any of these severe thunderstorm warnings are capable of spinning up a very quick, a very brief tornado, even in the shorter term, and therefore we still need to at least keep a closer eye on that. At least as far as our counties close to and to the east of I-39, at this present time, our strongest wind gust that we have seen was around 40 miles per hour out of Dixon. But I know that we've seen some extensive wind out to the west of that as well. Report from our weather chat that there was fire department rescue had reported some thunderstorm wind damage 3 miles east of Winnebago, so likely very close to actually our TV station, which is probably a good reason then that we ended up taking the shelter. In addition to that, an official observed wind gust at the Rockford Airport briefly was 64 miles per hour. So an observed wind gust in the Rockford area of 64 miles per hour, which is considered damaging wind gusts as well as that potential. And that's at that threshold for a severe thunderstorm, hence why they ended up issuing the severe thunderstorm warnings. And obviously we do have these also embedded circulations in addition to that we have those tornado warnings in place. One other thing that I also would like to note is that we have seen come back into play is, once again, similar to the last 2 nights in a row, we have a flash flood warning that has also been issued for a small portion of Winnebago County. This is along the exact same lines of Winnebago County that has seen the very heavy rain the last 2 nights in a row, and luckily this time around we've at least seen that in a shorter corridor. It's not lasting as long, but nonetheless torrential rainfall in a short amount of time has allowed that flash flood warning to at least be put into place. That flash flood warning does include downtown Rockford as well as southeast Rockford all the way down to bypass 20 and over to the Winnebago-Boone County lines. Flash flood warning there remains in effect still until 11:15 tonight. Rainfall rates producing up to around 1 inch per hour. Rainfall up to 1 inch is possible, as we're only expecting rain in a narrow corridor, as I mentioned, as far as time is concerned, but nonetheless, that possibility of a flash flood to occur is very likely, even with these shorter and lower amounts of rainfall, just given the amount of rain that we had over the last couple of days. And I'm also keeping tabs on our National Weather Service chat as well if we continue to see anything else. As far as information, it looks like the Belvedere Fire Department had reported a funnel cloud at 6th Street and Whitney in Belvedere. So this is likely along that circulation and along these paths of circulation that we've really seen through many spots. So I'll take us back to our velocity now. Once we take a little peek at that, see our velocity scans here. It looks like we've at least gotten some new ones in, and it doesn't look like there's anything too pressing and too significant in the immediate term, but nonetheless, this whole line at least having some of these jagged edges to it, at least the possibility of producing a tornado in the shorter term, as we are potentially seeing some of those spin-ups still being able to take place. Yeah, we'll take a little bit of a closer look at that one now. We're still seeing at least that potential circulation, as you had pointed out. Now, this looks to be really embedded within the line because our main edge of those storms out very, very close to Kingston right now, but this is almost embedded within that line where we do see still some of this broad rotation even within this wall of greens, which indicates we have wind going toward the radar. We still have some pockets of blue, which is indicating higher winds, and then we have pockets of red, which is indicating a different direction in those winds. So we do at least have what appears to be some very broad rotation in between the Franklin and Kingston areas. This is along Highway 73, as we've been mentioning, just to the south of Colvin Park. And now I wanted to mention this is very embedded within that line, so if you are going out and you're trying to get a view of this, you're not going to be able to see anything very easily, as it is well behind a line of wind, a line of rain, and you're not going to be able to see anything, especially with it being as embedded as far back as it is. In addition to that, we also have a lot of this stronger wind that's been showing up. We've been seeing some of these wind surges, and I do want to at least take a look at what our radar might be sampling here with these winds just south and southwest of Kingston. So let's turn off our boxes for our warnings here. We'll take a little bit of a closer look at that and just seeing what our wind might be potentially picking up. And it looks like it does appear that it's picking up around 72 miles per hour for some of these winds in this pocket just southeast of Franklin and southeast of Kingston. Again, the severe thunderstorm warning still out and the tornado warning still out for a little bit longer, but it is appearing that we have the potential at least elevated some of these damaging winds. A matter of still how much of that is necessarily reaching the surface, but it is capable of bringing some of those damaging winds down to the ground, and that might be the potential that we see for any of those stronger winds, as well as that potential for any spin-up tornadoes. We still have a lot of these lines of circulation that are also showing up along southern Boone County into northern DeKalb County. This is all south of Belvedere, close to Franklin, along, as I mentioned, 72. And then we have all of this line that is at least out there surging for those winds and the potential for embedded circulations within there as well. So that tornado warning still runs a little bit longer here into the evening. Tornado warning there for northern DeKalb County at least runs until 8:45 tonight. The tornado warning for Boone County still runs until 8:30 tonight. So still a little bit longer to go for both of those warnings, at least the Boone County warning. It does look like, I'll see if they're intending to cancel that warning or expire that warning. I haven't seen anything about that any one way or another, but at least looks like the Boone County warning still remains in effect here, at least in the shorter term. Nonetheless, we still have that potential for a brief spin-up tornado almost along this entire line, as we've been pointing out. I want to take at least once again another little bit of a closer look along northern DeKalb County. Candace, if you want to point out some of those circulations, and I'll highlight them for you here.
Yeah, you know, we've been kind of monitoring those, as Jordan had mentioned, looking at these just to the southwest here of Genoa. So this is approaching 23. You also have got a little bit of an embedded circulation just to the west and northwest here of Genoa itself. So this is north of Kingston and right around just to the north there of Kingston, south of the Boone and DeKalb County line. So within this, you're going to have not only some stronger winds associated with that, but also that potential for maybe a quick spin-up tornado or two. So you're looking right up here through Genoa Road as that gets a little bit further there into Boone County. I want to go a little further down to the south. I misspoke earlier, so my apologies to that. Creston Malta along 38, not along 64. I knew that. I lived in Creston for the longest time while I was going down to NIU, so I apologize for that. So 38 is here south of 64. So again, my apologies for that as you travel into DeKalb County. But what we're also looking at, I want to go a little further south because there was something down in DeKalb that did again catch my attention. You've got a little more of a notch and an inflow here with that. So from 23, you've got 38 here. Here is 88. So approaching the Cortland area as we get a little bit further into DeKalb County. So again, a little more of that broader circulation. Thankfully, we have not had any additional reports come in. So far, we have not had, or that I have seen with this line as it's moved further to the east, any reports as far as wind gusts. I know Jordan had mentioned some winds that have been coming in, some 60 to 65 mile per hour wind gusts that have been coming through. So we are going to continue to monitor that as well as this storm eventually moves out of the viewing area. But you may also have some stronger winds, and it looks like they did issue the tornado warning a little further east outside of the area. So this is for King County, and then we also have McHenry County too. For folks wondering, in Rockford, in Belvedere, in Beloit, you're wondering, are you in the clear with respect to maybe coming out of your safe place? I saw some of those comments on there as well. Yes, you are. So the areas that we are more concerned with along this leading edge, and it looks like they just trimmed back that warning here for DeKalb County. So now northwest DeKalb County not considered in that tornado warning anymore. So this does include you in the Fairdale area, Kirkland area too. So this is for Kingston, Genoa as this moves further to the east. We also have that tornado warning for southwest portions here of McHenry County, and that is going to be for what we see as far as a little notch that is developing right near the DeKalb, Winnebago and McHenry, or DeKalb, excuse me, Boone and McHenry County lines. So you've got a little notch, but then along the leading edge here, you could potentially have some embedded straight line wind structures associated with that as well. So the tornado warning we saw for most of Boone County, which did include Belvedere, that has now been dropped. You guys are in the clear with that. Same thing with Rockford, same thing with Pecatonica, Freeport, Beloit, as well, as far as any significant wind. Now, I do see we still have a severe thunderstorm warning out for southern Wisconsin, but that tornado warning that we had in northern Rock County, that has been long expired, although still keeping an eye on this little notch feature here as that continues to surge off to the east. So this is just to the east of Janesville, and again, we're kind of looking at some maybe a little more of a bookend kind of development here on the northern fringe of that with that severe thunderstorm warning. So again, as these storms are moving to the east and southeast, how long did that warning go for the Rock and Walworth County?
The Rock and Walworth County severe thunderstorm warning still runs until 9:15 p.m. tonight, and that storm capable of 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, and it is moving off to the east at 40 miles per hour. So it's a little bit lower than the severe thunderstorm warning that they had earlier when they were up to 70 miles per hour for that potential. Let's see if they did include a tornado possible tag within that, and so this probably most of these severe thunderstorm warnings likely have that possible tag, as we still have a lot of low-level shear, which is allowing for some of these little quick spin-ups to occur within some of these ends of these storms. And we still have, as we had been kind of starting to point out, just on the eastern side of Janesville, that potential for at least a little bit of a circulation here, just on the east side of Janesville, as I mentioned, north of Emerald Grove. This is close to Johnstown, just north of Highway 14 and south of Highway 55. This is also to the east of Janesville, as I had mentioned, but is well west, at least at this present time, of Highway 89. If there is an embedded circulation within there, it would at least be the potential to produce a tornado, as they have that tornado possible tag on that severe thunderstorm warning. And it does look like we have a new severe thunderstorm warning that had been issued that now encompasses much of Boone County, as well as over into most of DeKalb County and McHenry County as well. That severe thunderstorm warning still runs until, let's see, the brand new one runs until 9:15 tonight. That severe thunderstorm warning is out for 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts, the storm moving to the east at 45 miles per hour.
Yeah, here's just the warning for that came out for DeKalb, McHenry, and Boone counties, the severe thunderstorm warning. The tornado warning for northeastern DeKalb County will remain in effect until 8:45. A severe squall line capable of producing both tornadoes and extensive straight line wind damage located over Genoa, currently moving to the east now at 35 miles per hour. So let's head back over to our reflectivity with this, so we can kind of get a storm track on this, as that's moving to the east at 35 miles per hour. So Genoa still included in that tornado warning. Same thing with Kingston here too, as well as southwest McHenry County and a far southeast portion of Boone County. Already the rain has really lightened up here at the station from what it was earlier, so it's quick in and out with it. So it did pack a little bit of a punch. And as I mentioned before, as this storm was out over northwest Illinois, we had some really strong winds associated with that as it was moving over portions of Joe Davis County as well as for Stevenson County. But this is all moving off to the east. So if it were to hold together, we are looking at Marengo here just a little before. Actually, right now, that storm is pretty much on top of you. Hampshire just a little before 8:50. Same thing with Woodstock in McHenry County, and then Elgin, which is out in Kane County, outside of our area. But we're still noticing some of these circulations. I also want to draw attention to the fact that we do have a flash flood warning out for portions of Winnebago County, and that is again in an area where we had numerous flash flood warnings and rainfall in some places over the span of the last couple of days that have added up to 10 inches. So from Saturday night, from what we had on Sunday night, and then again what we're adding on top of here, what we've gotten through tonight. The heaviest of the rain has moved out, but we've had rainfall rates of at least an inch per hour. So again, when you've got a lot of rain that has come down, your ground is already saturated, so it does not take much to cause some issues with flash flooding. I do want to hang on to this warning through DeKalb County as well as for McHenry County just a little bit longer, at least until the portion is moving out of DeKalb County here and through moving out of McHenry County. What we'll do is we'll continue this because we are getting close to the 9 o'clock hour, so our newscast over on Fox will begin at 9 o'clock. So we'll touch more on this. But if we can go back to our reflectivity here, the storms have kind of slowed down a little bit. We've had winds that have been roughly from, the speed or the momentum of the storms anywhere from 35 up to 40 to even 55 miles per hour. So this line is moving to the east now at 35 miles per hour. You've got a little more of a surge in the wind here just to the east and northeast of Sycamore, and then looks like maybe perhaps some embedded circulations just to the southeast of Genoa. This is to the east here of 23. This is getting into eastern DeKalb County, and then just to the northeast of Maple Park. You also have a little bit of a notch here too, not necessarily in that warning. Maple Park is not in that warning, but they've trimmed that up to include more of central and northern DeKalb County. But yeah, looking at this, it looks like we have a little more of that circulation that is starting to take place. So this is going to be south of 72, right here east of 23, and then perhaps maybe some gustier winds there moving just to the south of Genoa itself. But eventually this is all going to be moving into Kane County. We've got the heavy rain that comes in behind that as well. And the warnings that we see with this, the warnings are dropped back further to the west. So that is some good news. So the areas that we have here of concern now are stretching from eastern DeKalb County all the way up through southwest McHenry County. And we've got quite a few of these little notches, and I think this one just to the southeast of DeKalb County is a little more prominent than some of the ones that southeast, of Genoa is a little more prominent from what we're seeing as far as a radar and reflectivity structure with that. But where you've got these surges and our reflectivity, so it almost looks like it's surging out here, you're going to have some stronger winds associated with that, and then that is going to follow in with the heavier rainfall as well.
And one thing I also want to note when we're going back to our flash flood warning in Rockford is that there is a spotter report of near 11th Street and Sandy Hollow area has standing water near the Schnucks over that direction. The trained spotter that had repeated that back to the National Weather Service as well, and that they said the standing water there was approximately up to the rims of the car. So hopefully not seeing as much of the deep water that we had the last couple of days, but nonetheless still that potential for some flash flooding to have occurred even in some of those same areas that had picked up a lot of very heavy rain. Now the one good thing about this is that the rain is not lasting nearly as long as it did the last 2 nights, but nonetheless, even with how saturated the ground is, even 1 quick inch of rain in a matter of 30 or 45 minutes can induce once again that flash flooding that we then now continue to see with that flash flood warning that has also been issued. And it does look like with that circulation near Maple Park, I know this is now crossing over into Kane County, but they did issue a tornado warning out into Kane County with that circulation. Now, Candace had been mentioning a lot of these surges coming out, and if we have any one of those surges that ends up going out a little bit quicker than another one, that's what can cause some of these little embedded circulations within. And we also want to note that just to the east of Sycamore, we are seeing some of these really dark blue colors starting to show up on radar as well, which is indicating the potential for even some much stronger winds. Now, Now, this is still estimating those winds a little bit higher up in the atmosphere with that potential from the radar scan, but nonetheless, taking that into consideration, we are at least seeing that potential for some of these stronger wind gusts up to 80, potentially 90 up to 80 miles per hour within this little line here that's just to the east of Sycamore, getting ready now to cross over into Kane County, it appears, at least with that potential for some of those stronger winds. And even with that newer radar scan, it does not show it nearly as prominently, but we are still seeing, as we had been talking about, some of these embedded circulations. We're starting to see some of these stronger winds being pushed out ahead of that storm, and that's where we're starting to see at least a few of those embedded circulations, along with that potential for still some damaging winds. So we are going to run down some of our warnings that we still have in place. Most of these have now extended to most of our eastern counties, but we're going to look and see at least with what our warnings remain in effect for, and we can still, as we've been trying to do throughout this time, call out some locations that are at least in the clear as far as severe weather goes. So starting up to our north, we still have a severe thunderstorm warning that's out for portions of Rock into Walworth County. That severe thunderstorm warning still runs here a little bit longer until, let's see, that one runs still until 9:15 p.m. for this severe thunderstorm warning that's in southern Wisconsin that includes Rock into Walworth County. That one runs until 9:15 tonight. Down to the south, the severe thunderstorm warning that is out for portions of Boone into McHenry, as well as much of DeKalb County, also runs until 9:15 tonight. And that one is out for 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts, as well as these embedded circulations with that potential for some of those tornadoes. In addition to that, we do have those tornado warnings, as I had been mentioning, and then down to the south, we have another severe thunderstorm warning that is out for southern DeKalb County, as well as just a small portion here of Lee County, and that severe thunderstorm warning also runs until 9:15 tonight, and that storm also capable of producing those 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So all of these storms capable of producing anywhere between 60 to 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts, and this whole line of storms, at least at this present time, all of our severe thunderstorm warnings are set to expire at 9:15 tonight. But we are also keeping a closer eye on those embedded circulations and with those tornado warnings as well. So Candace, take us through a little bit more of what we are seeing within those.